Hello everybody and welcome back to Red Eagle Politics. Make sure you guys like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So a poll came out a few days ago. We made a video about it in the state of New York, a very heavily populated state, and it shows that while Donald Trump is not likely to win the Democrat stronghold, he is likely to possibly make some gains, which could increase his possibility at winning the popular vote, and it would help Republicans out down ballot. And then we see another poll coming out of another heavily populated state, the state of Texas. The state of Texas has been the talk of the town per se in a lot of electoral politics spaces for quite some time. People are questioning, is it going to go blue anytime soon? And while demographic changes and certain suburban trends have worked against Republicans in the state of Texas, it does seem as if the state is not yet ready to flip, and we saw certain trends that were favorable in certain parts of the state in 2020. Republicans did very well there in 2022 as well. They had a very good vote operation. They got it done in the state of Texas. You saw the candidates up and down the ballot winning by 10 points or more in some instances. And on top of that, we see recent polling from a couple of days ago from the University of Texas, which was the most accurate pollster in 2020 in Texas, and it was the most accurate pollster in 2022 in Texas. And they show that Donald Trump is not only eviscerating DeSantis in the primary, this primary state that Donald Trump did not even win back in 2016, but on top of that, they do show him in a very good position to take on Joe Biden and win the general election in the state of Texas next November. So, without further ado, we're going to dive into it, but first, really quickly, I got to tell you guys about redeaglepolitics.com, your one-stop shop for all exclusive Red Eagle Politics content for just $5 a month or 16 cents a day. You get access to all of my exclusive videos that are not released on the channel. Yes, they do exist. You can get access to them on the website. Released a video a couple days back about the first 4 states in the primary process. And on top of that, we have the Discord server, the newsletter, etc. Make sure you guys sign up, redeaglepolitics.com. The link is in the description and pinned comment down below. So, the University of Texas poll is the most accurate poll recently in the state of Texas. They said Trump would win by 5. A lot of other pollsters had Texas closer. They had it tied in 2020. Didn't matter. Trump won the state by 5.6 percentage points. And then on top of that, 2022, since Biden has become increasingly unpopular in the state of Texas, you are seeing Republican margins increase, and you saw that in the midterms with the results there. Greg Abbott, despite him holding his ground on the abortion issue and Democrats fired up, it didn't matter. Republicans still manned the turnout game very well, and they ended up winning by 11 percentage points over Beto O'Rourke, who almost beat Ted Cruz in 2018. And they were also able to flip a House district there in the state. And on top of that, you see these other races down ballot, they were winning them big as well. Even these hardliners, people will say, oh, these MAGA candidates that are hardliners and populists, they always lose in these contested states. Well, no, Ken Paxton is probably the most controversial Republican nominee in the entire 2022 midterms. He won the state of Texas by 10 points. He won by 1 point less than Greg Abbott. What does this prove? It proves that the number one thing that matters and counts is mechanics, and Paxton, he had a great deal of money backing him as well compared to these other candidates in states like Arizona or Michigan or Pennsylvania that didn't exactly have that fundraising advantage. But nevertheless, still, they said going into Election Day that this is a potentially serious challenge for Paxton. It wasn't. Paxton's the closest thing you get to a Donald Trump in Texas. If anything, he's further right than Donald Trump on literally everything, but it didn't matter at the end of the day. The greatest attorney general in the country, even though they tried to recently impeach him for trying to call out bad actors in the Texas State House, it didn't work. He got acquitted. But all those corruption nonsense scandals that people were talking about during the impeachment trial, everybody knew about them way back when, even back to 2018. It hasn't really affected Paxton's electability in any way. And it kind of shows that Texas Republicans are very competent, and it shows that they know how to stand their ground, get things done, and win. And you're looking at this 2020 even, you're looking in some of these metro areas, are Republicans turning a corner in a place like Houston? Houston only moved to the left by 1 point from 2016 to 2020. And given the fact that the nation moved left by more than that, Houston potentially trended right. So I think DFW continues to move left. Austin continues to move left. The rurals and the smaller metros will somehow get redder. Biden's unpopular. The Rio Grande Valley probably continues to move to the right. The reason why I don't believe the trends continued in the midterms were because you had very low turnout. And even then, they stayed stagnant from 2020. And down ballot, they moved right as well, which is another thing that people need to take into consideration. So overall, I think Biden's unpopularity will give Texas to Donald Trump by probably around at least more than what he won it by in 2020. And that's at a minimum. And you're looking at this poll. This poll shows Donald Trump up by 8% in the state of Texas, the most accurate poll in the general election against Joe Biden. Yeah, there's undecideds. Yeah, that margin may not stay the same a year from now, but it is very likely, looking at every single metric, looking at trends, looking at polls, looking at the midterms even, that Donald Trump is in a very good position to win the state of Texas. Basically, his floor for 2024 is where his 2020 result margins were, to the point where he just has to go on offense, pick off a few states, and he potentially can go out there and win. Obviously, nothing is set in stone. We're still going to have to play from behind, work for it, do what we got to do to get out there and win. We can't take election victories for granted, but still, Texas is a state that probably is not going to be very contested once again, at least this time around. Now, we have to see what happens in the far future, the 2030s. There are going to be a lot of questions raised about the future of the state of Texas for various reasons, and we've covered them, and definitely the alarm bells are still sounding for that. But either way, you're looking at this. We also hear that Donald Trump is a bad fit for Texas and that other Republicans would win the state handily. And honestly, this is something that I have tended to agree with. Trump is a really good fit for the Rust Belt. Is he the best fit for a Sun Belt state like Texas? Maybe not so, but you look at these other clowns in the Republican Party that are running for this nomination against Donald Trump, and they're the ones that are underperforming him. And yeah, I think they would win Texas, but do I believe that Ron DeSantis would outperform Donald Trump in Texas at this point? I would have said yes a year ago, but looking at how he's ran his campaign, I would say it's been an unmitigated disaster, and I'm not so sure that he would. Yeah, I think somebody like Nikki Haley, as much as I despise her, would be able to carry the state of Texas. She's not going to get the nomination, so it doesn't matter. And I know the poll has Vivek down there losing to Biden by 3, but there's so many undecideds in that poll that I wouldn't take it too seriously. And if Vivek found a pathway to the nomination, which again, I don't believe he has one, he probably also would win Texas. Republicans are going to win Texas regardless, but this notion that, Donald Trump is going to put Texas at risk, we're going to lose Texas if we nominate Donald Trump, doesn't work that way whatsoever. You're looking at this, and this is not the only pollster to show this sort of result. And given how competent the Republican Party of Texas is in terms of their get out the vote operation, it would make perfect sense that Donald Trump would go out there and win Texas. You don't see the same competency across the board. Pennsylvania, maybe a corner, maybe being turned. That would help. Same thing with Nevada. Wisconsin, that's a crucial state that I think Trump is going to carry in 2024, but still the Republican Party, there's so much room for growth in Wisconsin that's just being ignored, and I do believe that that is not helping Republican chances the more that it does get ignored. You have a lot of incompetent state parties in the Rust Belt, in these states that Donald Trump won in 2016, very well could win in 2024. And they're going to have to get their act together in the coming year. And I believe that if there's anybody that can transcend the incompetence, it would be Donald Trump, just because of how much he's able to go out there and inspire people to get out and vote in these places. Unlike any other Republican, you saw 2022, a lot of people just decided to put the blame on Trump because they're lazy. They don't look at the underlying mechanics. And where do you see the shift in the midterms that was most to the left? Where did you see the highest turnout drop off? It was in those rural or exurban counties in the Midwest, where Donald Trump uniquely had a point of strength in those places. And if he's on the ballot in 2024, I think that would be the number one Band-Aid to go out there and rectify that problem. But nevertheless, you're looking at this. This is good news all across the board. The state of Texas overall is a state that's going to maintain itself in Republican hands. 2028, it probably does as well. I think that Republicans do need to get their act together and to start passing legislation to terraform the state, make it a state that is very friendly to conservatives, unfriendly to liberals. And if they're able to do that, the state of Texas could actually maintain itself as a red state. Also, they're going to have to get the border crisis under control, immigration under control. And I think Donald Trump would be the number one guy for the job of the presidency to go out there and do it. And that's just the way things are right now. And you're looking at the state of this primary. It's over pretty much. I mean, Trump is still gaining. His surge continues. We know that. Mike Pence decided to drop out. I mean, after falling down to 1 to 2% in most national polling. And it's like, that's what's going to happen when you go out there and say, I don't care what happens in this country. This America First populism is evil. It's toxic. And he's even calling out DeSantis for being too much of a populist there. And it's like all the sound bites that he has produced from his campaign, it's honestly laughably bad, to the point where it just like, it honestly seems like it's controlled opposition. If anything, that's how bad his campaign was. But I didn't even want to make a video on that because of how irrelevant he is. But you're looking at the big picture here. Texas is looking good. North Carolina's looking good. Florida's looking good. Ohio and Iowa are looking very good. So we got to go on offense, get Wisconsin, get Nevada, possibly Georgia, Pennsylvania, go out there, win 2024. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Like this video down below, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media. The links are all in the description down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Red Eagle, out.